Welcome back, I am NotPog, and today we are showcasing the Sleep Paralysis Demon origin. The Sleep Paralysis Demon origin is an origin used by Galaxushii on the Cryptid Craft server, where you can check them out in the description below. Anyways, on to the showcase. For our first ability, we have Peer into the Abyss. Your eyes can see all, allowing you to see in the dark, and holding sneak will let you toggle this on or off. So, if I sneak, you can see that eye icon slowly building. And if I hold it all the way, you can see that now I have night vision. So if I go down here, you can see that I can see under the water and most of all, underground. And like the description said, if I hold it again while it's toggled on, I can toggle it off again. And has a cool sound effect and a little bit of a darkness. Now before we move on to our next abilities, let's first cover our first debuff, Stalker. You like to stalk people. Being in close proximity to players, villagers, or cats will help regain Stalker energy and replenishes hunger points. Essentially, by being near these things, you can regain Stalker energy, which allows you to use certain abilities. It is basically a debuff, but it lets you do certain things. So as the description says, being near a villager and a cat will raise my Stalker energy. So as you can see, down here, it is slowly charging up. So for this origin, it is highly recommended being near other players, being near a villager farm, or having a cat as your companion throughout your journeys. Now that that's out of the way, we can cover our next ability, Apparate. Using primary, you can vanish and appear at will. However, if you're too close, someone may spot you. So, by pressing primary, you can vanish. And this is true invisibility. I'm holding an item and no one can see me. However, if I move too close to something and they spot me, then that will be an issue because it will kick you out of your invisibility. We can make this golem look at us. So if he looks at us, now our invisibility is cut off and there's a small cooldown timer that doesn't let us reactivate it for a small duration of time. So now, only now, I can reactivate it after someone spotted me. For our next ability, we have Demonic Embrace. You can fly through walls at will. So, if I leave the Apparate form, and using my secondary, enter the next state, you will have these particles that signify that you are in your next state. So, you can move normally and phase through things like a phantom. However, if I start sprinting, you will notice that I will start turning into some kind of red mist. This will let you fly in survival, but additionally, you can phase fly through the ground to find caves, underground bases, anything relatively quickly. Additionally, in case you haven't noticed, it adds a slight red tint to your screen to help you signify that you are in your phasing mode because it does drain a little bit of Stalker energy. Now, for our next ability, is a really cool one. Our next ability is called Mark of the Damned. You can mark any creature. Once you are marked, you can teleport to them, paralyzing them when you do. With a compass, right-click a creature or mark a creature. Sneaking or right-clicking the entity or clicking another entity deselects tracking mode. To teleport, put the compass in your offhand and right-click. This may sound like a lot, but is relatively simple. So, if I want to mark something, with a compass, you right-click them. And as you can see, now it says Tracking Iron Golem. Additionally, you will have this particle that only you can see, as well as the particles around the golem that only you can see. What this lets you do is let you track the golem. So no matter where the golem is in the world, you can track its position, unless it enters a chunk that is not rendered. But if you track a player, you can track them no matter the distance. Now, if I want to teleport to this golem, I can put it in my offhand, and even though he is over there, right-clicking will teleport me behind him and put him in a paralysis state, signified by the weird music disc, and also the fact that he is unable to move. One thing to note though is that paralyzed entities are immortal, so that means they are unable to be damaged, but they cannot move at the same time. They can struggle, but it takes a long time. Additionally, paralyzed entities cannot escape unless you move far enough away or they struggle. So, if I go this distance away and I come back, that golem should be able to move freely again. Now, if you want to deselect an entity, all you have to do is shift, right click, and it will deselect that you are tracking them. Additionally, if you are not close to any entity, you can select another entity just by right clicking it, and it will deselect that one that way, so you can right click this one again and track this one instead. For our next ability, we have Ominous Presence. Ominous Presence, creatures that are nearby will slowly lose their sanity, eventually becoming paralyzed. This can be toggled on and off by your save tool hotbar, and creatures nearby will receive slowness, weakness, and darkness over time. So, as it said, using our save tool hotbar, we can basically toggle on or off. So, now that it is activated, anything nearby will slowly get negative effects, eventually becoming paralyzed. Now, moving on to our second debuff. Always lurking. You prefer dark spaces. Areas with too much light weaken you. So, if I step out into the light, I will be weaker. However, if I go into dark spaces, perhaps over here, it will no longer be on my character. And as you can see, instead I get speed and haste, rather than weakness. For our third debuff, we have Purgatory. The sun's light is too potent, causing you to burn. So, if I were to go to survival mode and step out into the sun, it will start burning me. Now you may be thinking, just step into the water. But going into our fourth debuff, we have Holy Water. All sources of water contain potent levels of holy water. Because you are a little demon, even though you are burning in the sun and you may want to cool off with water, that will only solve one issue, because going into the water is just as bad. So, your best bet is to go into dark spaces where you cannot be burned. Anyways, I am NotPog, and this has been the Sleep Paralysis Demon Origin. It is a relatively fun origin that you can play with. You can do a lot of things like phasing, becoming invisible, tracking players and teleporting to them, paralyzation, and much, much more. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See ya.